Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Overcoming Diabetes. In this episode of Overcoming Diabetes, I'm going to cover the topic of the best diet for diabetes. Is there even such a thing as the best diet for diabetes? This is a question that I get asked very, very often. And for those of you, right, who have diabetes, and are you one of the many people who is always looking at materials, searching for YouTube videos, looking for the best diet for diabetes? And in your opinion, is the best diet for diabetes the ketogenic diet, or is the best diet for diabetes the whole food plant-based diet? Or to you, is the best diet for diabetes one that must be very low in fat, or to you is the best diet for diabetes one that must be very low in carbohydrates? Or are you one of the people who would think that the best diet for diabetes must be one that include some form of fasting, some form of intermittent fasting, some form of extended fasting? So what do you think? And which is the your definition? What elements of the diet do you think constitute the best diet for diabetes? Is it the ketogenic diet, the whole food plant-based diet, the very low fat diet, the very low carb diet, or a diet that includes some form of fasting, intermittent fasting, or extended fasting? What do you think? Share your views in the comment section below, because I think learning is best done by participating, by sharing your views, by answering the question. So I hope in this live stream here, this live chat, you would participate by answering this question. I would give you some time to share your comments in the comment section below. Right? Which to you is the best diet for diabetes? For those who are new here, I'm Dr. Chan. I'm a medical doctor from Singapore. On top of being a medical doctor, I'm also a trainer and coach in the area of lifestyle as medicine, in the area of food as medicine. For a period of time from 2014 to 2019, I was even a full-time chef running my own restaurant, trying to use a restaurant as the living classroom to encourage and to educate people on using food as medicine. So my focus is in training and coaching people to modify and improve their lifestyle and dietary habits to better control, to better combat diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cardiovascular disease, and other lifestyle-related chronic conditions. And I do that through one-to-one coaching, workshops, webinars, and online courses. And from my experience in the last 10 plus years interacting with thousands of people with diabetes, coaching, conducting one-to-one coaching for patients with diabetes, I would say this to the question of what is the best diet for diabetes? There is no one size fits all best diet for diabetes. That is like my best answer. It may not be the answer that most people want to hear, but that is the only answer that I would give to anyone who asks me that question. Because there is no one size fits all best diet for diabetes that is suitable for, that is good for everyone and anyone with diabetes. Because if you have diabetes, the best diet for you, the best diet that's for combating diabetes for you, based on your current state of health, based on your current severity of your diabetes, based on your current lifestyle and the lifestyle that you want to maintain, the diet, the best diabetes diet for you versus the best diabetes diet for person B, the best diabetes diet for person C, right? Do you think they are necessarily the same? What do you think? Share in the comment section. What do you think? Right? That whether diet A, the best diabetes diet for you, or diet B, the best diabetes diet for person B, or diet C, the best diabetes diet for person C? Are they necessarily the same? Is there such a thing as the best diabetes diet, a standardized, a one-size-fit-all standardized best diabetes diet? Is there such a thing? Right. So just now when I asked you all of you the question about, right, what is the best diabetes diet? Some of you answer that you don't know, right? Some would say that intermittent fasting, low carbs, and some would of you actually answer say that Janet says that it must be something, some healthy fats. For Janet again, exercise is important, but in terms of diet, right, no idea anymore. And for Mr. Tang, Mr. Tang said, as far as he is concerned, right, the best diabetes diet must be one that's low carbs, high fat diet. So as you can see, right, from the various comments that some of you have put in the comment section, that there is really no one size fits all. All of you answered it differently to the question, right? Because the diet that is suitable for you, that's best for you to combat your diabetes as compared to other people, must be different. Because everybody is different. Everyone with diabetes have a different severity of diabetes. And because of the severity of diabetes, the corresponding diet that you need to adopt, right, to combat that degree of severity of diabetes must be different. Somebody with a very severe diabetes, the diet that this person need to adopt certainly would be very different from somebody with pre-diabetes, somebody with very mild early stage diabetes. Don't you agree? And even for people with the same severity of the diabetes, the underlying pathophysiology of diabetes for each person may be different, right? A person with diabetes may predominantly has insulin resistance as their problem. But for another person with diabetes may not have any insulin resistance. That person may mainly have the problem of insulin production. So people with different degree of predominance of diabetes pathophysiology, the corresponding diet that they need to mount to combat it, to control it, must be different. Don't you agree? And all of you who are watching from YouTube, from Facebook, do you not agree that there is no one size fits all best diet that's suitable for, that's good for, that's safe for everyone and anyone with diabetes? Because everyone is different, not just in terms of severity of the diabetes, the pathophysiology of each person's diabetes, but also the difference in their state of health, the difference, right, in the presence of other comorbidities, other medical conditions. One person with diabetes may have high blood pressure. Another person may have gout. Another person may have some other medical conditions. And therefore, you cannot just talk about, no, just because you have diabetes, that you adopt a diet that's only good for diabetes, but may not be good for gout, that is good for diabetes that may not be good for high blood pressure. So we need to take into consideration the presence of other medical conditions, the state of health of a person, because everybody is different. Everybody is different. And every person with diabetes, people with diabetes do not all have the same types, same class of medications. Certain medications would lend themselves to being not suitable for certain kind of diets. For certain medications, intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet may be not so suitable or not even safe. Right? So we need to take into consideration, right, the medications that the patient is on, before we define whether that diet is good for them or not, or even safe for them or not. And above all of this, there is this individual preference. in terms of diet. Some people would never ever consider giving up on carbohydrates. They say, I would rather die than stop eating rice. I rather not live if I have to stop giving up all my carbs. Whilst there will be other people who say that I'm a meat lover. I may agree to reduce taking meat, but I will never ever become a vegan or vegetarian. I will never ever want to, I will never contemplate going full whole food plant-based. So everybody's dietary preferences must be taken into consideration. Food culture is also different. The Indian culture, the Chinese culture, the Malay culture, the European culture, the American food culture, they are all different. So when it comes to designing and defining and determining what is a good diet, the best diet for diabetes, for an individual, for a specific individual, we must always take into consideration the person's dietary preferences, the person's food culture, right? Because if we want the diet to be successful, it must be sustainable. For it to be sustainable, it must not be totally competing with, challenging for a person's dietary preferences and culture. Don't you agree with that? Right. So the last but not least, everybody is also different in terms of their ability to adopt certain diet. I have many patients, and they are heterogeneous. They are very, very different. There are some who love to cook, right? There are some who are very good at cooking, whilst I have others, right, who are total noobs in the kitchen. They cannot cook even if their life depends on it. So, depending on their ability to to prepare food, their ability to get access to certain food, right? Including their financial ability to buy certain kind of food which may be more expensive, right? Or maybe too expensive for their to be sustainable for them, or that require them to cook in a certain way, that require them to prepare food in a certain way. So even if a diet is good for that person, but it is beyond the person's ability, right, to prepare, to access the kind of food, the person is being set up for failure. So the best diet for diabetes for a specific individual must take into account all of this. Okay, all of this. Because since everyone is different, therefore the best diet for diabetes is different for different people. How many of you agree with that? Right? Share in the comment section if you agree with what I just shared here. That because everyone is different, therefore the best diet for each individual must be different. Right? Because every person with diabetes, a person with diabetes may have a different severity of diabetes compared to other people, may have a different predominance of pathophysiology compared to other people, may have other co-existing medical conditions that need to be taken into consideration when designing and determining a diet. Right? So you do not just live to eat to fight diabetes alone, but you need to take into consideration all this, including the medication the person is on and the different dietary preferences and culture, right? That person has, and last but not least, the willingness and the ability for the person to adopt a specific diet. So although there is no one size fits all best diet for diabetes, I can clearly, confidently say that there is a foundation that is common for all. What do you think would be the foundation that is common for all, right? That would constitute, that would be good for people with diabetes? What would be the foundation, right? Because from the comment section, right, I can see that there are some people, Elim Reza here, think that it must be low carb. And for Mr. Tang, again, think that it must be low carb. For Fiona thinks that must be whole food, must be not processed food that would form what would be a good diet for diabetes, a best diet for diabetes. For Wendy, clean eating is the foundation, is the definition of a good diet for diabetes. But for me, the foundation, even though there's no one size fits all best diet for diabetes, there is commonality. There are some commonalities for everybody and for anybody that is common for all. Firstly, there must be an appropriate amount of calories. The intake of calories must not be more than what that person needs, regardless of whether you're whole food plant-based diet, regardless of whether you are on a ketogenic diet. It must not have excessive calories. Excessive calories that will put on the pounds. Excessive calories that will increase, fat in different places, especially in places that you do not want. Therefore, the first foundation of a good diet for diabetes must be it must not have excessive calories. Regardless of whether you're high fat, low carb, regardless of whether you're whole food plant-based, it must not have more calories than is suitable, than is appropriate for the person. Yeah. Number two, it must have minimal added sugar. Right? Regardless of whether it's mild diabetes, severe diabetes, regardless of what medications you are on, a good diet for diabetes, the foundation of good diet for diabetes must be one that has minimal added sugar. Regardless of whether you are ketogenic, regardless of whether you're whole food plant-based, it must be one that is minimal in added sugar. Number three, last but not least, it must be minimally processed. The foods that a person chooses to put on their plate must be one that has very minimally processed ingredients. That ultra processed food, right, is either absent from a person's dining table or only an occasional treat. That our foods must mostly come from the farms and not the factories. That you'll be choosing minimally processed food, meaning no highly processed fats, highly processed protein, highly processed carbohydrate. Choose whole foods, choose minimally processed foods. So these are the three foundations that is good for all, common for all, safe for all, that must form a good diet for diabetes. Appropriate amount of calories, minimal added sugar, minimal processed food. How many of you agree, right, that this would form the foundation that is common for all? Write down in the comment section if you agree with me that this should be the foundation that is common for all, even though there is no one size fits all. Wendy, say spot on, doctor. Thank you, Wendy, for sharing, for participating in this live chat. Right. Wendy agreed that this forms the foundation of a good diet for diabetes. Right. So not just Wendy, I also have Fiona Donaldson agree with this as well. Right. That this can form the good foundation, right, for people with diabetes. Next, can I just highlight to you, for those of you who are watching this live stream or the replay of this in various platforms, whether on Facebook or YouTube, after the live stream, if you have diabetes, can I encourage you that a good diet for you is number one that fulfill these three criteria in terms of foundation. But I would also encourage you to be cognizant of the fact that there's a need for your diet to be personalized, for your diet to be specific to you, based on your severity of diabetes. The severity of your diabetes is not the same as the other people with diabetes that you know, your pathophysiology that causes your diabetes may be different from other people. I'm sure many of you must have heard of insulin resistance, being spoken, very frequently, being highlighted very frequently by many influencers on social media. But do you know there are a good percentage of people with diabetes who have no to minimal degree of insulin resistance? Because insulin resistance is not the only pathophysiology of diabetes. And therefore, depending on your likely, the severity of your pathophysiology of your diabetes, you should have your diet personalized specific to you based on that. You should also, your diet, a good diet for diabetes for you, must also take into consideration your state of health, your other medical conditions, your medications, your dietary preference, your culture, and your ability, right? Your ability to access foods, the specific foods that would constitute, right, that definition, that criteria of a good diet for you. Therefore, can I encourage you? Stop. Stop looking for the best diet for diabetes. How many of you agree that we should stop looking for the best diet for diabetes? And I have Wendy here, right? Wendy here saying diets are hard to stay on, right? And would agree that it is difficult to look for, to continue to look at what is a good diet for diabetes. Therefore, we should stop, right, looking for one, because there is no such thing as a one size fits all definition of diabetes, good diet for diabetes that's good for everybody, that's good for anybody. And we also have Fiona saying that that foundation that I spoke about, right, is ideal and covers many foods, so that you don't have to go on a specific diet, right? But that you have certain principles that will guide your eating habits. Okay? So, with that in mind, can I encourage you to stop looking for the best diet for diabetes? There's no such thing, but instead, focus on making your diet better. Make it better. Instead of looking for what's best, focus what's best for everybody. Focus on yourself. Focus on your own diet based on those key considerations that I highlighted earlier, right? Don't look for what's best. Don't listen to the debates out there, between the whole food plant-based camp versus the ketogenic camp, the carnivore camp. You do not belong to a tribe. You don't win or lose in your battle against diabetes by winning as a tribe. You win or lose as an individual. You focus on your war against diabetes, your battle against diabetes, and focus on your diet, your own diet, and focus on making it better, one step at a time, one baby step at a time. Right? Because not everybody, even if they know what's best, they may not be able to achieve it fully. And if your expectation is best or nothing, and you get discouraged because you cannot fulfill, you cannot achieve the full degree of the full definition of what you think is best for your diabetes, and you get discouraged as a result, can I encourage you not to let uh, not to let best get in the way of better? Focus on getting better. Don't get discouraged if your diet is not the best. Any step, any baby step better is a precious step in your fight against diabetes. Yeah. So this is the foundation. Appropriate amount of calories, minimal added sugar, minimal processed food, and make sure you personalize specific to you your diet based on those criteria that I listed there. And for the latter part, you may benefit from one-to-one coaching to help you to personalize and optimize your diet to combat diabetes. You may be able to do that yourself. You may have some ability to review your diet, but often it you will benefit from a third person looking from the outside in, looking at your diet, right, from a impartial perspective, from a professional perspective, with the understanding of your severity of diabetes, with an understanding of your medications, your concurrent coexisting medical conditions, your diabetes pathophysiology, and understanding and being sympathetic to your preferences, your culture, your ability to access certain food, help you define areas of improvement, coach you, encourage you step by step to improve areas that you're willing and able to improve. So this would be the answer that I would give to anybody who asks me, Doctor, what's the best diet for diabetes? My answer would be, is there even such a thing? Because there is no one size fits all best diet for diabetes that is suitable, safe, and good for everyone and anyone with diabetes. That we should focus on making your each individual's diet better. Okay, so I hope you have found this short live stream useful, and it would help to give you some food for thought in your journey, your lifelong journey to prevent, your lifelong journey to combat, your lifelong journey to control, to reverse diabetes. You want to know more about me? You want to contact me? Right? I will leave my contact information, my about me information in the link in somewhere in this video, in the description in the video. So have a very good evening. And for those of you right, who have participated, I thank you. Right, I thank you for your participation. And Fiona, thank you for your encouragement. Right, Fiona have highlighted something that many people know, that the word diet is overused, and it has become more unhelpful than helpful when we use the word diet. Yeah. So I hope everybody press on and overcome diabetes. We can overcome diabetes regardless of your current state, regardless of your current severity of your diabetes. Don't be discouraged. You can do better, one step at a time. Let your lifestyle, let your eating habits be your medicine. Eat well and be well. Take care, guys.